Hey, my name's Larry and I'm with Under the Bridge Flies, and we're going to tie a wally wing spent mayfly pattern here. And it's actually a fairly easy pattern, although it does look kind of difficult, I guess. Looking at it, I thought it might be, but turned out fairly easy. And this is one of them that I've already tied, and I believe this would be a really good fish catcher. Anyway, so we got a size 16 Daiichi 1100 dry fly hook, and I'm just using a light Cahill 8/0 thread, which you can use tan or brown or whichever for this. It don't matter. You can't really see the thread any place on it. So, but what you're going to do now, you're going to start it behind the eye of your hook, get your thread started, and just work it back about halfway down the hook. Eliminate your tag in, and you're going to bring it up about a quarter of the way back. Alright, so what we're using for the wally wing is actual mallard flank, and this is wood duck, and these are a lot of feathers, fairly cheap, $2.50 for that pack of feathers, and there's quite a few of them in there, some really nice ones. That in there will make a really nice moto minnow. But anyway, what we're looking for is some feathers about this size, and they're about the size of my thumb, you know, I'd say, if you set them on there. So you want to find you a feather about the size of my thumb, not yours. Good luck with that. My thumb's this big, by the way. And you want to tear all this fluffy stuff off of there because you don't need it. Alright, so you see the feather's already got the curve in it, so all you're going to do is grab this feather by the tip, wet your fingers because it helps, and just pull those feathers back and try to get them even as possible, and just continue to wet your fingers and slide it back. And as you can see, it's going to start getting thinner and thinner the more you do this, and you want to get it good and thin. So when you switch hands, then you're pulling this feather in between your two fingers here and grab that front and just pull it forward. And what you're going to do is just lay this like sideways and get your first wrap, and you see how that's just going to right around and lay right on top of that hook right there. And I'd say that's about an inch or so long, so you will move your thread up just a little bit, and you want to get this thing good and secured down. Once you got her secured, go ahead and cut that stem out of there, and then cut another chunk out, and then cut another chunk out. And the reason I did it 3 different times is because it'll actually help taper the body now, see? And you won't have that big hump to overcome by just slicing it off. And we got a nice tapered body already. Alright, so next thing you want to do is put in your tail, and we're just using the same stuff, mallard flank, for our tail. Actually, I got a little tip here, and any scrap pieces will work. It's not that big a deal. So we're just going to take that tip and tie it in there and work it back, work it up, and see there, just a nice little tail. Clip that off, and if you think you got too much feathers in there, you can always clip some out of there, you know. You don't want a real bushy tail. You want kind of sparse. So, all right, next thing we're using is a goose biot, and these are golden stone goose biots. But if you got any nice brown or tan, would look good on here. And you know, you can tie this fly in many different colors, because these mallard flanks, I've got these. I got natural, I got tan, I got olive, I got brown, I got, oh man, rust. Of course, there's teal flank, golden. There's just all kinds of mallard flanks. So you can really switch up the flies that you're doing this with, you know. If you get some gray or some slate, and then just do this back in olive with an olive goose biot, you have a nice BWO, spent BWO. But anyway, you're going to grab one of these goose biots out of there, and you're just going to hold on to it and get your thread back there, and we're just going to lock that goose biot in there and bring our thread back up. Now you want to grab you a pair of hackle pliers, whichever you have handy, and I just use these here little generic ones because I can put my finger in and kind of spin it, and I can keep a little pressure on it, but I don't want to put a lot on it because it's going to break. And you're just going to spin this biot, and you're just overlapping where the seam to seam. So, and once you get up to the top there, to where you're running out of room to hook it anymore, just go ahead and clamp that down with some string, and you can just go ahead and tie that in there, and you should be able to eliminate most of that excess there, that garbage on the end. All right, got that done. Excuse me. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make our wally wing. And what you're going to do here is you're going to grab this, separate your feathers up here, and you want to start, you want to grab you about 4 or 5, 6 feathers, you know, as many as you possibly can. But remember, you still got to grab a hold of the other side. So, but as you can see, hopefully, how I got that separated there. So now I got something to hold on to for peeling both sides. And you're just going to grab those 6 or 7 feathers, whatever you got there. And I lost mine, so give me a second to find them again. And once you got those good and grabbed a hold of, just start pulling, and just evenly pull both sides. Then grab a hold of the other side and do the same thing. And when you're pulling, you want to pull both hands, not just one. Pull both hands, because it's going to come apart a lot easier if you do that. And if you don't get that real heavy stem out of there, then you can probably, maybe, chance you can, possibly, could be, but if you can grab a hold of that thing again, which I don't know if I'm going to get to do that on this one, but it doesn't really matter a lot. But yeah, see, I can't get a hold of it, so we might just leave it well enough alone. Try a little trick with the scissors there. There we go. Now we're just going to do that again, and see, that just pulled right off of there, so we're not going to mess with it anymore. We're just going to get this stray out of there and pull it on down. And that actually got rid of most of that stem out of the middle there, that pretty hefty part. So, all right, so now you got a split wing just like that. Take your split wing, put your fingers up underneath of it, and squeeze them together to where they're both setting together. And just grab a hold of them with your other finger and put some wraps underneath of that thing, and that's going to hold it up right for you. Now you want to separate it, so, and you want to keep, Now these are pretty sturdy feathers, you know, so you can pull on them, you know, pretty good without having to worry about breaking them off or anything. I mean, don't go, you know, Clark Kent Superman on them or nothing, but, and see how we're doing that? We're just figure eighting that around, and when we do that, you can see how that's laying down there, and you're just gonna run some figure eights inside of there. And this is really hard to do upside down, by the way. And you see how I did that? Hope so, because I'm not going to do it again. You better rewind. And then we're just going to clip these little ends off up here, and don't try to clip them close, but don't, you know, don't worry about it if you don't get them perfectly close, because you do not want to get and cut any of these, because it'll shrink your feather some now. All right, the next thing we're going to put in here, and we're about done, so is I got a natural hare's ears mask. That's what I'm using for mine. You can use whatever dubbing you want to, but this hare's ear mask, I don't know, it makes this fly just look so much better. But we're just going to clip off a little. We just clipped it right off the middle of that darker spot you see there. We got that darker stuff. Now we're just going to separate this pretty good. Try to separate this up some to where we got a little ball here. And then we could, what you do is, if you got any wax, just go ahead and wax that thread real quick, because you want this to stick to it. And we're just going to, now you don't want a big clump on there, you know, so you want to kind of even that out through there. And you want to get it good and wound on there, because we're going to come back and pull it out, but you want to be able to handle it while you're doing this. So anyway, we're just going to make a couple turns around the back and get to where that our goose bite came in there. And as you can see, this is separating. And then if you just pull that back, but you gotta, there we go. Make sure you keep that eye clean. There we go. And like I say, we just got that on there. Now we just get that around where our eye is. And we're just going to go ahead and whip finish there at the eye. Some are harder than others to whip finish when you're getting that close to an eye, but we're still I still double whip finish everything, because it just keeps it, makes a better fly. All right, so grab your toothbrush or something. Grab your wife's toothbrush or your mom's or your dad's, and I wouldn't advise using yours. Just kind of brush that out, you know. Toothbrush is soft, you know, it's kind of not real hard, you know, so it's going to pull these fibers out, you know, as you work with it a little bit, but it's not going to pull them all the way out, you know what I'm saying? All right, so once you got that done, then we'll just give these a little tug again. And as you can see, you have a spent wing mayfly pattern there. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do extra to this, you know. If you want to add a little extra on these biots, you know, and just throw some couple dots of brown Sharpie in there, and then you could actually UV that as well, you know. But it's, as you can see, it's not that difficult of a pattern to tie. It looks really hard, but it isn't, and it's a very good pattern. This will be a fish catcher for sure. So anyway, spent wing mayfly tied with a wally wing. Hope y'all enjoy the videos. I hope it helps some of you guys out there. If you have any questions, or if you have a fly that you want to tie and can't seem to get it right or something, give me a yell. I'll make you a video. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a great day.